I just don't think a pub is the appropriate place.
Why?
I'm not against breastfeeding in public. I breastfed my baby. He's 6 months old now. I just think women can also use their discretion because not everybody is comfortable with it, and we shouldn't expect
Maybe more
everybody.
people would be more comfortable with it if it just became the normal, natural thing that it is.
But you see, I wouldn't go to a pub on a Saturday night if I wasn't with my baby and take my breast out, and people seem to think it's different if you're feeding. Feeding a baby...
It is different if you're feeding,
It is different, yes.
I mean, it's entirely different.
It's a beautiful and natural thing. However, there's a lot of women who don't necessarily cover up. They can always go, be a bit more discreet about it. They can go into a corner. If you're sat within, you know, inches away from other people who aren't expecting it, it can sometimes be a bit of a shock.
Well, you've gone one step further. You've said you understand why it's difficult for men to be around breastfeeding women. I
do, because I've had this conversation with some of my male friends, and they say, you know, if a woman walks into a pub and she's got her cleavage out on display, it's a man's nature to look. They can't help it. It's biological for a heterosexual man to look. And they say, you know, more often than not, if a woman is breastfeeding a baby, they might glance over and go, ooh, and have a look. And my friend said, you know, he feels like a pervert sometimes looking over. He can't help it.
It's not that difficult to avert your eyes.
It's not difficult to avert your eyes, but a man might just look because it's sort of in his nature just once or twice, and it might make him feel bad.
But this story isn't
for
about
looking.
looking. This story is about Sheldon's outrage.
Well, I think part of his outrage is because he didn't feel it was appropriate visually to show that to people.
But don't you say, it's 2017, Sheldon, grow up, they're only boobs.
They are only boobs.
It's a pub where people eat and drink, so you're saying it's OK for a man and a parent to eat and drink, but not a baby?
They eat and drink, but there are also alternatives. For example, I would go out to restaurants, I would express milk and feed my baby with the expressed milk. You can avoid breastfeeding in very
Well, some babies don't take express milk. Some babies don't take to the bottle if they've only been exclusively breastfed. So you have to change your whole thoughts and feelings on how you bring up your baby because you don't want to upset somebody in a family pub.
No, but you can be discreet. You can use a cover. You can maybe go into a quieter corner. You don't have to kind of shove it down people's throats all the time.
Breastfeeding is a totally normal thing, and to suggest otherwise and to go somewhere else or go and sit on the toilet or put a blanket over, it's just wrong. I've written about this a lot on my blog, Crummy Mummy, and it's overwhelming the support you get from people. And women shouldn't be made to feel that they're doing something that's not normal or something wrong, or that people are judging them when they're doing it.
Do you think that this chap who was outraged by this should have said something at the time, or that it was...
That's exactly the point. He didn't confront the mum and he didn't complain to the bar staff. If we didn't have social media, he'd probably have moaned to a mate and that would have been it, and it wouldn't have gone any further. If he was that outraged, he should have said something.
So was it cowardly for him to do it online?
It's totally spineless, and the fact he didn't say anything suggests that he knows he was in the wrong and that there would have been a confrontation.
But would it have been right for him to have gone over and said, would you mind covering up?
No, I don't think so. The law is, and the law states, that you can breastfeed anywhere. You can't ask a breastfeeding mum to go somewhere else.
Is the issue not just breastfeeding in public, is the issue that she was having a drink? Because he seemed to make a big point about it would be 14% Pinot Grigio.
Possibly. I mean, I know women, when they've been pregnant, who've seen other women with babies in pubs drinking and been very, very upset by that. I personally didn't drink when I was breastfeeding. However, I think it's a woman's right to decide for herself whether she has the odd drink or not.
What he didn't seem to realise, though, and because the mother, who wants to remain anonymous, actually spotted that and then has replied. And you think... Because let me just go on to what he actually said. He continued to say, maybe they are unaware of local green spaces. You never know. If they venture to one of those spaces, they may at least be able to interact with other children and parents. So this man is outraged on every level. She shouldn't be in the pub with the baby. She should be out in a park.
He seems to suggest that she should be segregated in some way because she's a mother, which I don't agree with.
He then goes on to criticise, as I read out earlier on, the amount of alcohol that she might have been drinking. The mum actually said that she was drinking lemonade spritzers. So that's what was in her glass. So he didn't even get that right, what was in her glass.
It's none of his business. The milk she was feeding her baby at the time would have been milk that her body made hours ago. And we don't know what she was going to do for the next feed. She may have been giving the baby express milk in a bottle. She may have been giving them formula. It's none of our business.
She goes on to say, so what the mum said is, I just can't believe that in this day and age it is still a big problem for people. I can't believe that someone has actually gone that far to complain about it. It was my first Mother's Day. I haven't been able to drink for 9 months, so we just went to enjoy the day. Women used to cover up completely back in the day, and I think he must have felt uncomfortable. But if it was that bad, he could have come up and said something rather than writing it online.
I agree with her there, but it's back in the day bit. We have to consider not everybody is from our generation or our culture. We might be in a situation in a pub where there's an elderly couple and it's somebody's granddad who's gone there for his birthday and is inches away from a mum who just suddenly gets her breast out. He might be offended.
To feed her child.
But
that's what I think is the difference.
He's
When
from
you
a
just say
different
someone's
generation.
just getting their breast out, it does sound... I mean, if you were to stand in a pub and get your boobs out, yes, that would be an odd thing. People would stare. You're feeding a child.
I understand
You're
that,
feeding
but
a
he's
child.
from a different generation. We talk about back in the day women would cover up. That's what he's used to. Just as we can't expect all women to kind of run off somewhere in secret to breastfeed, we also can't expect the rest of society
But breastfeeding's
to be
not
okay
that
with
easy.
all
Like, I think
women
that there's this
breastfeeding
real
everywhere.
myth that breastfeeding is the most natural thing in the world. It's so easy, it's wonderful. Breastfeeding is really difficult. Some babies, if you cover them up, they don't want to feed because they're on this dark space. I think that it's not simple as covering up, putting baby on, and then you're sorted. It's not that easy. I don't think it's that easy.